today is the founder and principal partner of, okay, I'll come back to that. This firm was established in the year 2000. He has attended so many professional courses in Nigeria, in the United Kingdom, in the United States of America, and different other parts of Europe and the world across the world. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the man who is coming to speak to you is a member of the Nigerian Bar Association, Law Society of England and Wales. Distinguished Nigerians, ladies and gentlemen, he is a past president of Olabisi Onabanjo University Law Alumni Association. He held that position from 2018 to 2021. Distinguished Nigerians, ladies and gentlemen, the Alumni Association is made up of several judges, senior advocates of Nigeria, magistrates, lawyers, police officers, and professors that graduated from the Faculty of Law, Olabisi Onabanjo University, Akwa, Ogun State, Nigeria. Distinguished Nigerians, ladies and gentlemen, the firm I talked about, I said he is the founder and principal partner, let me now tell you, of Segun Shifeolu and Associates. The man I'm bringing to speak to you, ladies and gentlemen, is tall, slim, handsome, intellectually deep, and of course, he goes by the name, Mr. Samuel Olusegun Shifeolu. Please, a round of applause. Please keep clapping for him, please clapping for him, please clapping for him. Celebrating, 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 celebrating.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC, for that generous introduction. Without wasting too much of our time, let me acknowledge the presence of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of the state, who was earlier today ably represented by Professor Abayomi Arinkabi, the Commissioner for Education in Ogun State. I also must give due reverence and recognition to the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Adeolu Egbetoku. I acknowledge and appreciate your good works. I want to thank the Commissioner of Police of the state, Mr. Abiodun Alamutu, for his wonderful initiative and for the opportunity given to me to make my contributions. Please be assured that I will always make myself available for a brainstorming session like this one that will move our dear Ogun State forward. I appreciate my very good brother and the coordinator of this unit, Mr. Larry Ogulowo, the Commissioner of Police in charge of State School Unit. I must also give due reference to our fathers, our royal fathers, who are here seated today for this important discourse. I greet you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And then, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I've been asked to speak on a topic, emerging issues in the security and protection of schools and students, roles of stakeholders in our dear Ogun State. I am particularly delighted this afternoon that when I came in, I saw the students well seated here. And I believe that the students have their notes with you and your pen and your paper. Do I hear yes from you? Good. A round of applause for yourself. So, I'm talking to the students, I'm talking to the parents, I'm talking to the royal father, and I will be talking to everybody in this hall, because we all have something to take home today. I would like to begin with some definitions. I know that I'm not in the lecture hall, neither am I in the courtroom, but I like to break issues down so that we all can understand the issues. So for our understanding, I would like to bring out some definitions. Some of them we know, some of them we may not know, some of them we may take for granted. For example, if I say to you that, what is the meaning of security? And I'm going to tell you that pure and simple is a feeling of being free from danger, threat, or harm. A feeling of being free from danger, threat, or harm. And then I believe that some of these things are being projected. You can go on and on to what it means to have a protection. Any measure taken to safeguard a person against damage caused by outside force. And then we often define a student as a child who is attending a school. And I have said that not just a child, even an adult also attends school. Am I correct? So an adult can also be regarded through as a student. A stakeholder is a person with an interest or concern in something, especially concerning the education of a person. And this will be of interest to our children here. A child, maybe you are hearing this for the first time, a child is a person under the age of 18 years. That is what our Constitution says. So if you are under 18, amongst the students, you are a child. If you are above 18, you are no longer a child. You will be treated as an adult. And then, what do we mean by insecurity? It is the state of being open to danger or threats or lack of protection. Simple definitions, not too much grammar in that. The state of being open to danger or threat or lack of protection. So let me go into the meat of the paper today. Education is the process of teaching or learning, especially in a school. Especially in a school. Education is not an end in itself. It is a means to an end. It's a process. Education is a right and not a privilege. It is a right and not a privilege. It is also the best gift any parent or person can give to a child. Of course, I don't want to bore you with too much of legalese, but maybe when we get into the panel sessions, we can talk more about that. The 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria made provisions for the education of the citizens. Not only that, the Child Rights Law of Ogun State is unequivocal about the importance of the education of a child. That law also states the roles of parents or guardians and the government to ensure that these rights are upheld. So, our focus today is the growing security threats to schools and students in Ogun State. That's our focus here today. The growing security threat to schools and students in Ogun State. In recent years, Nigeria has faced a significant surge in insecurity. We cannot belabor it. The country is experiencing different forms of violence and threats and danger. Schools, particularly those in rural and semi-urban areas, have become targets for kidnappers seeking to exploit vulnerable students and their families for ransom. In the days when I was growing up, in the 60s and 70s, we called those people in local language, Bomo Bomo. But the Bomo Bomo of those days cannot even be compared with the kidnappers of today. They have grown in leaps and bounds, and they are completely out of tune with humanity. They have become a danger to the human race, especially to our dear state, Ogun State. The security and protection of schools and students in Ogun State face numerous challenges that require urgent attention. And I'm going to talk about some of this. The emerging issues must be addressed through a multifaceted approach that involves collaboration among stakeholders and the empowerment of communities in the state. This is why I am so delighted that our royal fathers, our community leaders are in this place today, listening to all that we are talking about. The stakeholders have a pressing role and responsibilities to carry out in the protection of schools and students. The stakeholders need to be identified because most students or teachers do not even know the stakeholders of the educational sector, thereby making it hard and inconvenient for such students in despair to lodge complaints. One thing that all of us will go home with today is the fact that when we see something, we must say something. In the course of this paper, I will identify and discuss the stakeholders in the security and protection of schools in Ogun State. I have segmented these stakeholders into two. I call them internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. I repeat it again, internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. Who are the internal stakeholders, for example? Stakeholders within internal. The internal stakeholders are those people that manage, work, and run the educational institution. They oversee the day-to-day running of the schools and institutions. They include the governing councils of our universities in Ogun State here, the vice chancellors, the rectors, the principals, the teachers, the students, and the community leaders. These are the internal stakeholders. The external stakeholders, on the other hand, those are the stakeholders without, outside, external. The external stakeholders, on the other hand, are those who do not participate directly in the school system daily. They are not government they are not employees of the institution. They include government, very importantly, government, I repeat again, government, security agencies, and I'm happy that this morning all our security agencies were duly represented and they are still here. Government policy makers and the community as a whole, this time around, the community as a whole, not the community leaders who are part of the internal stakeholders, but the community as a whole. Now, let's go a bit further. Stakeholders in the educational sector have a huge responsibility to tackle insecurity in schools. If the learning environment of a student is sound and secure, there will be a decline in attendance of schools by students, thereby increasing the rate and percentage of illiterate and ignorant people in the state. That is important. Let me go a bit further, because we are trying to identify these emerging issues. Some people opine, they have said, maybe that can be confirmed in the course of our discussion today, that Ogun State is not a vast state. It's not big, so to say. But I disagree with this opinion. Ogun State is ranked the 24th largest state in Nigeria. Ogun State borders the Republic of Benin to the west, Oyo State and Osun State to the north, Ondo State to the east, and the mighty Lagos State, I call it mighty for obvious reason, to the south. The state has a coastline of about 16 kilometers on the bight of Benin to the south. So if I draw a map of Ogun State, you will observe that the state is surrounded and bordered by 5 different entities with their emerging daily security challenges. 5 different entities. This is why I want to commend the untiring efforts of the Inspector General of Police, the Commissioner of Police, and the officers and men of armed forces for keeping us safe so far in Ogun State, despite the challenges we face every day. Students, I think you should give a round of applause to all our security. They are the ones keeping us safe in Ogun State. So, I will conceptualize the educational sector into 2 in Ogun State. We have the public school sector and we have the private school sector. In these 2 sectors, we have the primary, secondary, and tertiary education. So, let's go further. So far, I have identified the significance of education for a child, an adult, and the society. I have identified the stakeholders, both internal and external. I have described the vast and strategic nature of our dear Ogun State. I have also conceptualized education in Ogun State into sectors. Let me now identify and discuss the emerging issues. As I discuss some of these issues, I will also identify the roles of the stakeholder in line with the topic given to me. The issue that we all know, that all of us have been talking about, is insecurity, which is number 1 on my list. Insecurity. Nigeria today faces significant security challenges, terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, etc. And to safeguard the sovereignty and ensure the safety of the citizens, the Nigerian government and all stakeholders must take a decisive action through various security agencies to address these pressing needs. Let us discuss some of these insecurities. The one that readily comes to mind is kidnapping. Banditry, cultism. I repeat that again: kidnapping, banditry, and cultism. The school should be a very safe place for students to learn. It should be a very safe place for the students to learn. But to some extent, this assurance has dwindled. We all remember the kidnapping of the Chibok girls in Borno State in 2014. From where? From their school premises. From their school premises. Bandits went in there, kidnapped the students from their hostels, dormitories, and took them away. In 2017, right here in our dear Ogun State, 5 students and 3 stars of the Nigerian Turkish International College in the Shell Ogun State were kidnapped. They were kidnapped right from their school. And of course, the parents didn't have much option than to withdraw their words. Thankfully, the students and staff regained their freedom. Just recently, and this is why I keep commending the Ogun State Police Command. Just recently, the Ogun State Police Command paraded a 7-man gang who terrorize and kidnap people in Ogun State. Anyone could fall victim to the nefarious activities of the kidnappers, especially the students. Ordinarily, parents, I want to talk to you now. Ordinarily, we parents should be at peace whilst our children are in their various schools. Ordinarily. I give you an example of myself. I attended public schools from primary to tertiary, including the then Ogun State University, now Olabisi Onabanjo University. At no time my parents expressed any fear about my safety in school. At no time. In fact, it was at a time when there were no mobile phones. There were no mobile phones. Some of the Gen Zs and millennials did not understand that at a point in time in our lives in this country, there were no social media and there were no mobile phones. So there was no way my parents could monitor my movements. Whenever I'm going, they will tell me in Yoruba language, and then whenever I come back home and they see me, they rejoice, they jump up, and they embrace me. The reverse is the case now with the prevalence of mobile phones. But it is also good in one breath. Parents can always call and ask the child to share your movement in real time on Google because of the times that we are in. So I want to encourage parents, don't handle your children like they handled you when you were growing up. Times have changed. Monitor their movement. Let them share their movement on mobile phones. Mobile phones are important. Maybe during the panel sessions we will talk more about that. Furthermore, cultism and gang violence have assumed some dangerous dimensions. Parents, in particular, should train their children well. Political actors, politicians, please stay away from these children. Don't recruit them to be your political thoughts. When you do that, you are putting huge responsibility on the police. Because the political thoughts that you hear today may end up being your albatross tomorrow. Politicians, please take note. Cultism instills fear in the hearts of both the young and old, thereby disrupting the developmental growth and learning environment for the people of the community and its schools. Some years down the line, the whole of Shagamu was in turmoil. Till today, some banks have still not been able to recover because they burnt down a lot of banks and so many things, so many facilities in that place. We must be deliberate as parents. We must be intentional to end cultism in our dear Ogun State. Do I hear your aid to that? So there must be continuous dialogue between parents, between teachers, between security agencies, between other stakeholders to fashion out sustainable and effective measures for the students. Let me go to the second point, which is constraints of resources and finance. Insufficient funding of public schools and educational institutions have adverse effect on the level of education that will be given to the students. Undeveloped areas, such as the rural areas in Ogun State, suffer from this setback. And I want to believe we were honored with the presence of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Ogun State, ably represented by the Commissioner for Education. And I can say that they are doing a lot to improve the educational system, especially in the rural areas. We just want to encourage them by this initiative to continue to do that. The Safe School initiative of the federal government of Nigeria seeks to address this shortcoming. It's a huge development in this regard. I will talk more about that within the limited time that I have left. And then, of course, I'm sure it's been projected that we also have social inequality and discrimination, constituting a lot of problems, thereby leading to some insecurity issues in the state. The one that I also want to talk about mostly is lack of parents and community engagement. I even believe that we have said a lot about that. But there's just one point that I want to highlight in my presentation. Recently, the Commissioner for Education in Ogun State that just left, Professor Abayomi Babu, emphasized that the free education policy of the state government was non-negotiable. And I want the community leaders here present to key into that if they have not. He wants that the government will not tolerate any reported cases of learners being sent home for not paying school fees or levies. This is commendable, and I think we should clap for our dear Governor, His Excellency, Prince Dapò Abiodun, for this initiative. As I'm rounding up, ladies and gentlemen and distinguished royal fathers, let me talk about the Safe School initiative of the federal government of Nigeria, which we are here to launch today. This is a significant milestone by the federal government. A huge sum of money, billions of naira, has been allocated by the federal government to safeguard the learning environment over the next 3 years. The Minister of Women Affairs, Suleiman Ibrahim, made this announcement in Abuja just last week. In furtherance of this Safe School initiative, National Safe School Response Coordination Center Commander, Ahmed Aboduri, announced that there are plans to register about 10,000 schools in various states of the Federation. I want to implore parents, community leaders, their leader fathers, to please take this back to their various communities and ensure that their schools benefit from this Safe School initiative. There is a portal that has been opened, and I encourage all of us to tap into it. Conclusion. In my conclusion, let me conclude with just 4 points. And I'm going to highlight them. Number 1, all of us must be security conscious. All, including the students, must be security conscious. 2, we must jealously guard and protect all institutions of learning that are in our various communities. 3, we must ensure that we have the telephone numbers of the nearest police station to our schools. And then finally, when you see something, please say something. I'd like all the students to please stand up. Students, please stand up. I'd like you to repeat this after me. When you see something, say something. I say it again. When you see something, say something. One more time. When you see something, say something. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless you.
Your Majesties, very senior officers of the police and other security agencies right in this hall, you will agree with me that Mr. Samuel Olusegun did justice to that topic. If you agree with me, please give him a deserving round of applause. For me, the high point of it was his sign out. I'm sure those kids will go back home reflecting and recollecting that when they see something, they must say something. Thank you very much for that thought-provoking lecture. We appreciate you. Very distinguished Nigerians, ladies and gentlemen, before we move to the panel session, I need to do a very quick damage control. It is coming quite late, but then it is better late than never. I like to apologize because, of course, you know I will take responsibility for it. I didn't know. We were calling the palace and asking the palace secretary to tell us who is representing His Majesty. Unknown to us, His Majesty's representative happened to be the very first Kabiyesi to arrive this morning. And he's been sitting here all along. And I've done series of introductions and recognitions without acknowledging his presence. Your Majesty, I beg of you in the name of God. I beg of you in the name of the Governor of Ogun State. I beg of you in the name of the Inspector General of Police. I beg of you in the name of the Commissioner of Police. And far and above all, I beg of you in the name of Alale, Egba, and Yorùbá. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed, let me specially recognize the presence of His Royal Majesty, Oba Michael Adedotun Aremu, the Alake and Paramount ruler of Egbaland, who joined us at the beginning of the event and still very much here. His Majesty is represented at this event by His Royal Majesty. All of them are representing the Alake of Egbaland as well as the Egba Traditional Council. Your Majesty, again I apologize to you. Thank you very much. Let me also apologize to His Royal Majesty Oba Ola Benjamin of Imeko. Your Majesty, I apologize to you as well. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, same goes for His Royal Majesty Oba Babade Rashid Latif Obaladi Afon Imeko Afon local government. Your Majesty, thank you very much for joining us. As a broadcaster, ladies and gentlemen, one of those that paid my bill is Ryan Mason. I therefore must specially recognize and indeed appeal to the PPRO to help me create a space for him on the front row here. I'm talking about no other but the state chairman of Akomora, Comrade Kayode Showi JP. He's right in our midst. Great Akomoran! Great Akomoran! Mr. Chairman, please proceed to this side of the hall. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we move to the panel session, let me acknowledge the presence of Haji Jumo Labo, the State Chairman, Ogun State School-Based Management Committee, as well as the representative of the Ogun State Hunters Association. As we begin to round up, ladies and gentlemen, I've been reliably informed that we also have delegation from the Nigerian Legion, and from Nigerian Legion Ogun State Command, we have first Assistant Corps Commander Akinshola A. Daniel, who is representing the MWO Olukoton Olumuyiwa retired. At this point in time, distinguished Nigerians, we will have to move to the panel session. This is the session where we bring some very resourceful individuals to this side of the hall to speak to this important topic. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by inviting them to this side of the hall. I will begin by requesting that His Royal Majesty Oba Kehinde Olubende, the chairman of Ogun State Council of Obas, should please step forward. Let's appreciate them as they step out. Also, to step out, ladies and gentlemen, is a representative of Christian Association of Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the representative of the DSS. We also like the representative of the NSCDC to step forward. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we will be requiring the presence of Principal of Public Schools. The head teacher of Police Secondary School should also step forward. The chairman, Police PCRC Ogun State, Venerable Samson Kupola, please join us. The representative of the brigade commander, please join us. Our resource person will have to join us in this session. Let me bring forward Mr. Samuel Lubisha. Please join us.
Sorry, please, can you move closer a bit? Thank you, God bless.
I don't know if you say you don't have that job.
No, you know what? I'm using this screen.
I guess.
God bless.
From St. John Anglican High School, Kuto, Alai Fakoya, David, to step forward. Also to join this panel is Ugoji Precious. Okay, and Comrade Yinka Falani, Vice President, CDHR, please join us.
Is that what? Am I doing? What do you?
Mr. Shukwebu, you will help me at some point after this whole event. If SD Omolola Bitola did not perform, I may have to seek your services, to help me reach her. Because I am transforming from being the compere to being the moderator of this session. But it's fine. I hope that she will perform. All right, Your Majesties, distinguished Nigerians, I'd like to welcome you to this session of this event. This is team for a panel of discussions. These distinguished Nigerians sitting here will help us break down this whole topic. So at the end of the day, we will be leaving here having handy key points with regards to what we are going to be discussing. Now, what we're going to be discussing now is imperative for stakeholders' collaboration for school security in Ogun State. Imperative for stakeholders' collaboration for school security in Ogun State. My name is Desmond Wachuku. As I told you, I will be the moderator for this session. I'll start this way. I'll start by giving a quick self-introduction. I'll pass the microphone around so you can place the name by the face. So I begin with you. So you tell us your name and then you pass the mic on. Thank you.
My name is Ugoji Precious.
My name is Fakoya David. Venerable Samson Kupola.
Koyi, Baba Koyi Goodman, Olale Kadiri Koyi, PAD, FCI, standing in for the chairman of the State Council of Forests.
Superintendent of Oshao Adola, representing my state commandant, Commandant Rebudayo.
Modino Fola Shade Uduma, the head teacher, Big Student School, Ilewe Rambert.
Lieutenant Colonel McCoy, Garrison Commander, 35 Artillery Brigade. I'm standing in for the Brigade Commander, 35 Artillery Brigade.
Olusegun Supeolu, a legal practitioner. Comrade Yinka Folani, National Vice President, CDHR.
Okay, so let's hold it there. Let's hold it. The Comrade Yinka Folani, let me start with you. Break it down for us. When we talk about imperative for stakeholders collaboration for school security in the state, what exactly are we talking about?
Well, thank you very much. We can simply break it down to be that stakeholders collaboration for safer society for our schools. It is saying that ownership of security in the school community should not be left for the security agencies alone. Rather, every stakeholder, be it the parents, be it the management of the school, and every one of us should be part of that business. It is just saying that the security is our collective business. So as far as we agree that when we have a safer school, then our production or productivity will be at optimal performance. That means when we have a safer school, then we are having a conducive environment for learning, then we will undoubtedly know that the product of the schools will definitely be useful for our society. And when the school is safe, the parents are safe, the community is safe, the entire state is safe. So it requires a concerted effort, a combined effort to fight insecurity in the school environment. And I want to say that is just a summary of what I think about.
Okay, please pass the microphone to Mr. Shikwedu. Mr. Shikwedu, you gave us a mind-blowing lecture earlier. Now, talking about stakeholders, how many stakeholders should we have, or who are those that can be described as critical stakeholders when you talk about security of our schools?
Thank you very much, Mr. Compare, and now Mr. Moderator. Don't worry, when you finish, consult me. I will get that thing for you.
Please put your hand together for him.
Now, in the course of the lecture that we just listened to, I identified two critical stakeholders and I put them in segments. I call them internal and external stakeholders. Let me say this, sirs, that the external stakeholders, the government, security agencies, and so on and so forth, which we identified, are doing their best. In fact, this is a testimony to the best that these external stakeholders have done and are still doing. That is on one side. On the other side, and this is the most critical part of it, the internal stakeholders, the community leaders, the principals of the schools, the students, the parents, are they going to embrace this initiative of the federal government of Nigeria, which is being launched here today, which is the Safe Schools Initiative? It is important that these stakeholders must not only embrace, they must buy into it. And I also want to suggest, by way of recommendation to my dear brother CP Ogunowo and other critical stakeholders in this Safe Schools initiative. Maybe you can say that any principal or headmaster or headmistress of any school that fails to embrace this initiative will be sanctioned. I want to suggest that you must have a timeline and you must have some sort of guidelines for every school to abide with. And there must be inspectors going to those schools, especially the ones in our rural areas, to ensure that the security measures put in place by the Safe School Initiative Program and their coordinators are fully complied with. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, Brigade Commander, the theme of this discussion is imperative for stakeholders' collaboration for schools security in Ogun State. The impression or the message passed on to us about the military is that your role is basically about war. We're now talking about stakeholders and talking about school protection. How will the army and indeed the military in general get involved?
Thank you very much for that question. First, I want to clear an impression that the army is tasked to maintain the territorial integrity of this country. Does not mean eventually if my convoy is passing by and I see a crime being committed, I'll say leave it to the policemen, it's not our business. If I should do that, I have abused the uniform I'm wearing. It does not stop at we protecting the territorial integrity of the country. There's what we call internal security. And the banditry, insurgency, and cultism that the guest lecturer just described is part of internal security. So let's say eventually the insurgent, the bandit, or the cultist is using weapons like the general purpose machine gun. The police is not equipped to carry the general purpose machine gun. It is a kind of what we call interstate conflict that you use such weapon. But if the insurgents chose to use such weapon, there is no choice. The army must be called in to partake in internal security situation. A typical example is the Boko Haram insurgents ongoing in the country right now. You will see that the army is now in the forefront, but originally, internal security is the police, is the point man in internal security. But now you see as if it's the army throughout, because the insurgent has proved himself a formidable enemy. So the government will call in bigger weapons to deal with them. So that's the situation we have here. And let me paint another analogy that there's a situation in Liberia. I was privileged to have served there. Before you succeed in any internal security operation, there's what the military calls the Trinity. And the Trinity in military parlance means the government, the people, and the army. The people in this sense will be the students. The Trinity must to recognize their role. It will not be only the security agencies. In Liberia, there is somebody that got to my checkpoint. I was a second lieutenant, fresh from NDA, where they threw me to Liberia. So somebody will pass here and say, what are you people doing in Liberia? You're coming eating Liberia money, you ain't doing nothing. So that thing continued. One day the man said there was a crisis we quell that crisis. So when we're going back, Liberia, they call all of us Oga. Say, Oga, your thank you. You finish quelling the place, your thank you. I was so annoyed, I had to blow up. I said, what is thank you? The same crisis my father came here 14 years ago. I am coming here for the same crisis. You are telling me thank you. You people cannot respect yourselves. Eventually, that pricked the whole people there, the whole Liberians. The next year I heard there, oh boy, you see, the man father coming stay here for 14 years and you come for the same crisis again. Oh God, forgive us, man. That is, the people must realize before you come in. If the people disagree with you, you will never succeed in internal security crisis. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's quite revealing. And we need to hear from the people who are wearing the shoes to know where the pitch is. Madam, do you actually feel by any means threatened at any point, or however, do you acknowledge any fear of a possible attack in our schools in Ogun State?
Thank you. As far as police students is concerned, we are in a safe environment. But I just want to make an appeal because some schools around the state were not fenced. And these children, both the teachers and the learners, are prone to being attacked by hoodlums or they can be kidnapped. So the appeal I just want to make is that the patrol team should be posted to various schools in the state. Because to be both in the morning and afternoon, after the closing hour, they should be patrolling around the schools. And also, some schools that are not fenced, I want to suggest that if government agrees, let it be fenced. The perimeter fencing should be made with full security at the gates. And I want to suggest also, like the issue of boarding schools, where anybody can easily enter there. And the opinion that if police personnel can be posted, or any of the security agents can be posted at the gates there, and also the staff and the students there can be made to put on a ID card, so that anybody that is coming in, you can easily know that this person is not part of them. No, I'm making this a suggestion as a result of the issue of insecurity in the schools now. You can see people just walking into school. They don't have children there, but you see them entering with an interior motive. So in order to curb all this, they can do that. Even the issue of CCTV camera can be placed in these boarding schools, so that in order for them to detect any intruder that will be of harm to the learners and the teachers. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Now, Madam, Nigeria's Security and Civil Defense Corps, we're talking about collaboration here, we're talking about stakeholders, we're talking about security, we're talking about safety of schools. Does this project by any means conform with your responsibilities as an agency within the security space in Nigeria?
Well, thank you. I would like to start by saying something. We all know our children, they spend this important part of their days in school. That is why, as a parent, as a government functionary, as a security agent, community leaders, we are all involved in the protection of these our schools. If you are talking about school protection, we must not dwell alone on the physical security. fine, some things have to be in place. Like you rightly said, what are the physical protections we have in place? The fencing, the signing in protocol, fine. But there are some challenges that are happening right within our walls. That are a form of threats too. We are talking about corporal punishment, bullying, rape, the use and sale of illegal substances. All these contribute to the menace in our schools. Now, we are all stakeholders as far as we are concerned, because these are the issues that affect our children, our future leaders. That is why we just all have to be on deck in whatever we are doing. After the children are gone home, the community has role to play too. They will serve as the ear of the school. Whatever is going around, they can easily alert the school or the security agencies around them. That is why it involves all of us, not just a set of security agencies. No, all of them, even the quasi-security agencies, including the vigilantes, Amotekun, if they are the one that needs you and you need help, you just have to contact them. You don't have to wait for a particular security agent to come to your rescue. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Before His Majesty comes on board, I think you just mentioned and drew my attention to the fact that we're also going to go, local. So I'd like to bring 2 more people. That's okay. I just gave him the microphone. Before his speech, I'd like to bring in 2 more people to join this conversation. The first man I'm going to bring is our landlord. He's in charge of this territory, and so we have to bring him. He's got a few things that we need to get him to tell us. I was talking about the area commander Metro, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Aruna Adam. He joins us now. Please help me look for him wherever he is. His attention is needed. Wherever he is, his attention is needed to join us now. And then we also talked about quasi-security agencies, and that will make me bring to join this panel the representative of Amotekun, PSP Omolekun Ojo, should also join us. Join us, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I understand that we also need to bring in a representative of the Transport Union, and so Comrade Abdulaziz Najim, who is the Committee Secretary of NURTW, will be joining us. So I think one more seat will be provided for him. Your Majesty, let's talk about the role of the traditional institution in fighting security or crime and criminality, particularly zeroing in on to what we're discussing now, zeroing down to the security and safety of schools and students.
Thank you very much. About a month ago, I was in the villa representing the Paramount Villa on this type of regarding the roles for traditional rulers in the Nigerian Constitution. All what the traditional rulers are doing now, they are doing it unconstitutionally. They are doing it traditionally. But if traditional rulers are included, are given a role in the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, at least there is no community that there is no, will not find a traditional ruler, either a Norma or a Bali. Whatever that is happening in the community, they are the first person to know. For instance, let me quickly take this as an example. As Olu of Imashari, we have Olu Ashura School in Imashari. And I quickly set up the committee, monitoring all the activities there. As of yesterday, the teachers are in my palace. I have told them, if you observe anything criminal among your students, do not hesitate to report to me. Immediately, I will, bring my people in together. And yesterday, as I'm speaking with you, we still have about 4 students
who always have their classes on the tree in the school, they are still at the police custody. It's because I have taken it upon myself as a PhD mother that none of my students, none of my subjects will go to school and will not perform. They must perform. But if traditional rulers are not hitting a set out rules in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, all they are doing is unconstitutional, and they may likely have no effect. But we have concluded in the State Council of Obas that yes, we are the owners of our communities, and we are giving ourselves a target. The roles cannot be done by the teachers alone, but traditional rulers have a lot of influence, a lot in the management of schools in their respective domains. And it is important that most of the teachers or the parents, because I personally involved myself in PTA of Odo Azara School. I was one that nominated those in the committee, and we'll be working hand in hand to make sure that our students, coupled with the social needs in town now, you will go to some schools, you will see junior school students engaging in this their thing. But the roles, the principal, the teachers and the principals will have their own roles to play too. For instance, before I came on board, something happened in my community, and since then, some of the teachers, even if you are posted to Odo Azara School, they say they are not doing. Why? Because there was a time a principal died due to a sort of spiritual attack, and they assumed that it was the father of one of the students that shot him. So they are posted there, but I'm giving them as the number one person in that community. I'm giving them my words that nothing will happen to me. And in fact, I was there sometimes when I said these students will be given an indefinite suspension. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Majesty. The PCRC chairman, I'd like you to look at the police, the leader when it comes to internal security. This concept is of the police. Do you think that the police, in terms of strength and capacity, have what it takes, to drive this project to a success? I also need you to look at what's been happening around. Some people are of the opinion that the police and other security agencies seem to be overwhelmed with insecurity in this country. What's your take?
Thank you very much. I think the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that we have to do a complete overhauling of our school architecture. The sort of architecture that we are practicing in our schools, in developing our schools, is already obsolete. Within your phone that you are holding now, you have your radio, your television, your diary, your album, everything is in just one phone that you are holding. And yet, we are still building secondary schools on 20-30 hectares of land. We need to make our schools more compact. It's only when we do that we will have enough security, to be able to safeguard them. You go to universities abroad, and you just find that along the streets, just one street, you have about 3, 4, 5, 6 buildings, and they are showing out very, very good graduates there. So I think we need to do that. And I'm sure that the Commission of Education will also know that we've been facing the issue of encroachment in our schools nowadays that has brought a lot of miscreants very close to the school because of the expanse of land that's available for them to encroach on. So I think the government should work on this. Secondly, I also think that the issue of enforcing the use of CCTV cameras on all commercial buildings as a matter of law. Every building that is commercial, petrol station, hotels, supermarkets, everything should be forced to have CCTV cameras on their buildings. This will assist in monitoring the security situation. Because you will realize that when you attack a school, probably the first thing to be attacked there will be CCTV cameras. But if you have CCTV cameras in the inlet and the ingress of that particular road leading to that particular school, you will be able to catch them or be able to get enough information. And that will bring me to your the police and the security agencies are overwhelmed because of the sort of architecture that we are practicing. I don't know how many police officers will be posted to Abeokuta Grammar School as it is now to be able to police that particular place. But if you're able to bring them and make them compact, maybe all those cells is just in one building, all the lecture halls is one building, and one administrative block, I am sure that we'll be able to make it in the box. But I know that the police we have, with the community policing that we are now practicing, I don't think we will be overwhelmed if every one of us key into it. That is our responsibility. Thank you.
Hello. All right, thank you very much. Fakoye, David, we are talking about impurity for stakeholders collaboration for schools, security in the state. As a student, what do you understand by this theme? And what do you want to tell these critical stakeholders sitting in this hall?
I will start by saying the name of stakeholders and who stakeholders are. Stakeholders is a person with an interest or concern in something especially concerning the education of a person. Stakeholders are important in education because a team effort increases the chances of success in reaching educational goals. In recent years, Nigeria has faced a significant surge in insecurity. So, I would suggest that the Commissioner for Police should give safety hints during a meeting with principal of public and private primary and secondary schools with issues on collective way of securing students as the basis of discussion. According to what Mr. Samuel Ogunsegun said, when you see something, you say something. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, let me come to Bangoye Timitope. Do you think, when the brigade commander was talking earlier, he spoke to the fact that the people must be ready to make it work before it can work. Do you think that students across schools in Ogun State will be ready to collaborate with security agents to make this project work?
Yes, of course, but we have to do it the principal, the teachers, and the staff of private and secondary school. In order to make the collaboration of the security of the economy of the state.
Take it easy. Don't rush yourself, all right? Relax. Don't feel intimidated. See, one day, all of us will not be there, then you will be the one in charge.
So, in collaboration, to join together with
to security for themselves. Because according to what Mr. Samuel Williams said, he said before we see, you have to say something, right? Yeah, before we see, you have to say something. So according to something like, what if we don't see it and what we don't see it and we don't have to say anything? Now how are we going to, like, how collaborate together with security in the state?
All right, I try to understand. She was trying to answer. All right, she was trying to ask one fundamental question.
If you are asked to see something and say something, how do you say what you did not see? And I think that's very, very fundamental. So, going forward, when the mic gets back to Mr. Shibelu, I would like him to speak to what she just talked about. But in the meantime, he will come to Amotekun, and what I like to know is the level of, you see, when Amotekun was coming on board, personally, the picture I had was that Amotekun will come and fight crime traditionally. If you are being asked to get involved in the security of schools, do you have what it takes to participate?
In fact, I have to thank those who got it wise to create what we call Amotekun today. Because of certain things that have been existent, the failure of the previous attempt to safeguard our lives that brought about what we call Amotekun. And if we are talking about security in schools, we have to look inward, look at the internal problem and the external problem. Then we have to think about the internal stakeholders as well and the external stakeholders. But as far as government is concerned, government have been trying a lot. They have put a lot of things in place to make sure that schools are safe. And that's what one of those things is the Amotekun we have today. They have put a lot of communications to make it easy for us to communicate as security agents whenever we need their attention in our domain. For Amotekun, we all know why the name is called Amotekun, that Amotekun has we know the characteristics of Amotekun that if we enter into water, Amotekun will have to be there with you. If you climb a tree, Amotekun will have to be there with you. Whatever you want to bring, whatever you want to do, we have to make sure we checkmate it by all means. And that's why it is a security from the grassroots. And any security from the grassroots is not far away from our tradition. As far as going back to our traditional rulers, they know how they have been defending their domain before the advent of the Europeans. And today, we need to know this. When we are talking of internet, there are a lot of things that are involved. There are a lot of, we have to think about factors like religious dichotomy. When we are growing up, they are what we call moral. Today we hear about students versus students, students versus teachers, because we have left a lot of things undone because of our beliefs.
belief that going fanatism have made us to begin to fail in so many ways. That is, in those days you have, in the morning we have morning devotion, either in Christian ways or in Muslim ways. But because of rivalry among religions, we have left that undone. And yet we begin to see students doing what is not expected of them. Then we come back to the parents where the students come, the home they come from. It becomes pretty difficult. We are even trying in this part of the country, in this part of the world. You go to some part of this country as well. You see a lot of things happening there. Parents will no longer control their world. Why? Because we don't come together. In those days when you see a child going astray, the parents, the family, they will sit down together and call that child. And all of them will rebuke that child. We have left that undone. And that's why the other speaker that said the traditional rulers have a place, a role to play. The traditional rulers as well could, at any time when they see what is happening in their domain, that is not palatable, they need to invite those who are concerned, and they lead the chiefs, and that's why we have balogos, and that's why we have chiefs, that's why we have their taboos. But I beg your pardon to say this anyway. I know they have done a lot. But what I'm saying is that for Amotekun, we are there night and day, on the tree, in the water, on the road, in the house, outside, on the nest, and above God.
Thank you very much. It's simple, sir. Yes, sir. You see, I was told, I'm not a security expert, but I was told that before a time occurs, there's what is known as early warning, and there's also what is possibly called, early response. Given your experience fighting crime and criminality over the years, what would you call the early warnings? How can we identify the early warnings talking about attack on our schools?
Thank you very much. We all know that the police are the number one in terms of internal security. That is why you see, no matter how small community is, we normally have police outposts there. We have police outposts, we have police station, we have the division, go to the area command and the state headquarters, zone and post headquarters. So all these were done so that the people very close to us to be able to have first information. Police is the number one agency that normally have first information reports. That is why we patrol all areas 24 hours. That is why police stations will be made open 24 hours. And in that process, we try to collaborate with people living within areas. What I mean here is, in the course of our patrol, we give them our phone numbers. Wherever we are, no matter how late an incident occurred in the regions. And believe you, we have to be there. Every morning, if you go around and see us, trying to build confidence in the minds of the people that we are here for them. Apart from that, the schools, because no matter the effort we will make, we will not succeed without the cooperation of the communities. What are the communities? The community is supposed to do this. When they see an unusual movement, let them alert us, because prevention is better than cure. 2, our schools, because these gathering centers on schools, I want to draw the attention of the schools or government. Let them have alarm installed in all the police stations within that environment. What I mean is, if there is any incident, the way we have it with the banks will place their alarms at the police station. When that incident is just placed, when we saw alarm ringing, so fast, you know something is about to happen, we quickly respond. So I'm appealing to the school also to do similar things. It's not much. Schools can put alarms at all their divisional headquarters, all their police stations, all their police outposts. When there is an unusual movement, because maybe probably bad tired and what have you, just press that alarm, press the button, the principal or the security checkpoint will now press that alarm. The police officer in charge of that environment will notice alarm is ringing. Then quickly police will rush to that place, at least to protect any unforeseen incident. That is to alert the police at the right time. What incident will normally happen, police will get to know about this thing maybe after some hours. Then one thing that I want to point it out, we want to get the first information so that we can act on time. But most of the schools we are having, they don't have the phone numbers of their police. They don't care to find out. They don't care to get it. And sometimes if the principal will get the phone number of the DPO, he doesn't care to give to his security personnel. Something may happen probably when the principal is away. And network can fail. But once you avail the security personnel with the police number, they can quickly call. Let me give you an incident. When they kidnapped the student of Kadara Secondary School in Niger State, I was the area commander there. The principal, we don't know the reason he failed to give the phone number of the DPOs of the Division Police Headquarters Kadara in Niger State. When the bandit came in, the security personnel wanted to reach the DPO, but the number is with the principal. So we're having this problem with them. So I'm appealing to them, this is an avenue that will call on them. Let the even if the DPO do not give this number, go to and collect this number. If division has their phone number, collect the number. Once it's not to allow things to happen, once it's an unusual movement, please quickly call. We are here for you 24 hours. Now, another issue that I want to do, we go on convoy patrol around our vicinity. The command has given an order that this convoy patrol must be carried out. So we used to go on convoy patrol. You see us with like 7, 8 vehicles going around. Moving around the schools areas, moving around the banking areas and other places. All this is to build confidence in the mind of the people there. Then apart from that one now, we used to have very strong synergy with the sister security agencies. Because if you look at it, we can't do it alone. At times when we go out, we see us with the Amotekun, the OPC, the vigilante, the soldiers, the civil defense, moving together. At least this will give us a large number that we can cover our environment. Where we cannot get enough number, there is what we call the Aberdeen patrol system. This Aberdeen patrol system enables us to cover areas. We move in large number, we stop in an environment, we patrol the areas. From there, we move to another environment. This enables us to cover areas under our organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Nigerians, this microphone will come to you. Just take one or two more comments here, and then we'll pass the microphone. So if you have a contribution to make or question to ask, you signify, and then we'll get to you. Then there's a man here who is an encyclopedia when you talk about security. He will, I don't know if I still have that authority to mandate him to talk to us. Okay, even if I don't, in the name of the governor of the state, we will mandate him to address us. And that man is the consultant to the governor of security, CP Edward Awolowo Ajogun. At the appropriate time, the microphone will be taken to him. So this is just to prepare his mind. But every other person who has a contribution or a question will be bringing the microphone to you in a moment. Just hold on. Now, please, okay, please pass the microphone to the brigade commander. No, the brigade commander first. I'll talk to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, sir. I want to add one or two points. But you will permit me, I will also ask the students a question. We all saw the clip that was earlier presented, and we all appreciated what was going on in the clip. Students, I believe we all saw the video clip. Okay, I want to ask you a question. Where do you think those students were going to? I want to hear from the students alone. Nobody should give them expo. Where do you think those students were running to? Say? Beautiful. You've gotten it. That's the point I want to talk about, because I was of the opinion that the packaging, they did a good job packaging it. I would have appreciated if somebody explained what was going on. Those students were not just running aimlessly. They were running to a muster point, or alternatively the fire point. Those of you that are used to watching the news, the ongoing conflict between Israelis and Palestine, when the Hezbollah start firing rockets into Israel, there's a siren, and that siren tells everybody to run to a muster point where you are relatively safe. The impact will not meet you. So I want to borrow the words of Kabesi, and the words of my colleague, that the teachers, as the guest lecturer has rightly stated, the internal agents have a task to do. The police cannot do everything. Each school is supposed to have a sketch map of their school with the police showing the muster point. That will help the police. If the into an emergency, fire will be directed away from the muster point. Because if the police is not there, the muster point where the children are, the children too, they are not educated where to see as their muster point. Some students will be running to climb the fence, some will be running to break leg in the soccer where they go for it. There will be rowdiness. So there's a need for the students, the teachers, everybody in that school community to be aware of the muster point. And the police is also made aware, because the policeman also come in his life is also at risk, because he has not done situational awareness of what the people are carrying. So he will be apprehensive too. So you will help him by providing that for the policeman to redirect his fire away from the muster point for the safety of the children. That's the point I want to know. I want to tax all internal agents in Safe School initiative to come up with a muster point in all schools and carry out drills for the students to also key in to know that if an emergency, this is where we are moving to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please give the microphone to the LRT document. All right, comrade, we're looking at collaboration, we're looking at safety of schools. Where would you say you stand?
Thank you very much. The topic, role of transport sector as a stakeholder in effective protection of schools. When we talk about transport sectors, it is divided into two. We have the public transport sectors and we have the private sectors. As I'm sitting here today, I think I'm representing all the segments of the private transport sectors in Ogun State. As much as it is, we have AURW, we have rural OGSPAN, what do you call it, OGSPAN and the other road employers. All of us will belong to the private transport sectors. And as much as it is, the role of transport sector can never be emphasized, especially in the Nigerian economy. We play a very significant role. And as a major stakeholders, we play a very pivotal role in our economy. First and foremost, let us look at it from the aspect of providing safe transportation service for students and staff. Of course, it's obvious that transportation is needed to move around from one place to another, houses, the children to the point of their schools. But however, we are looking at it from this aspect that we have our own role that we can do by sensitizing our drivers on the aspect of the fact that mostly, maybe during school hours, when we see our school children in school uniform, we try to inculcate the idea of having interaction with those students. Most especially whenever they want to board taxis during school hours, especially when they are with their uniform. So that if they cannot give a very good explanation towards their destination, we are taking over the idea of inculcating these in our going to places which is the management of their schools are not aware. That is one. Then two, it's obvious that in Ogun State generally, we have a lot of schools that are adjacent to our various garages. We have a lot of our garages that schools are behind the garages, which is obvious and which everybody is aware of. I don't want to start mentioning, at least I'm aware of that of our Kuto garage. And of course, I may not be able to mention much because I'm not from this state, I'm transferred here from Abuja. So, but of course, those of us that are from this state, you know, as I've mentioned it, you will be able to think of those schools that more or less, they have their fence more or less sharing the same fence with our garages. So we would play a significant role by educating our members in those garages and ensuring that they did not give them access road, using our garages as an asset to get out of the schools premises during school hours. Because there are many situations where, apart from the main gates, there are always some access road that the students normally use to get out of the school premises. And most often, they can as well use the access of our most of our garages. Another area where the transporters can give support is in the aspect of supporting school safety awareness campaign and initiative through sponsorship of program on radio and television services. Again, we can also join other stakeholders of this road zebra crossing sensitization program. Again, we can also facilitate school feeding program by ensuring that safe delivery. We are the section of the society that is needed for the delivery of those safer school feeding program, because transporting those food from various places to the various schools, it is our member that is needed. So we are also collaborating with that area. Then lastly, we are most often needed when we come to the time of our excursions. We will make sure that we give the schools better, very good, nice buses that will not break down on the road, and we ensure that the drivers that will be allocated for that transportation are not those ones that normally take what they call they take all these
okay, we were really silent. Thank you, Comrade. You see, I appreciate that. Look, give the microphone to Mr. Shikoy. I'll come to you, Comrade. Give it to Mr. Shikoy. If you were on my program, either on TV or radio, as soon as this event is done, I'm sure that the marketing department will send you an invoice. You know, that was a very good marketing for the transport union. But the one that I'm going to take away is the fact that your body is willing to partner by way of sponsorship of the activities of this body. Very, very important. And I'm sure that the AC Ops, who is the state coordinator, must have taken note of that. Please, Mr. Shikwalu, this young woman talked about, seeing something and saying something, and what do you do when you don't see? So please address that part and tell them and us, we can actually see something. And what do we look out for?
Wow, sometimes when you lecture children, they ask you impossible questions that you may not have answers to. But that was a very clear question, and I appreciate that. If you don't see anything, then you are safe. If you don't see, you won't say. But if you see, you must say. Before, we will see and we will not say. And then we will say, it doesn't concern you. No, it concerns all of us. Let me also add that the say something and say something is a call for vigilance, number one. For vigilance, you must open your eyes wide. And number two is a call for awareness. You must know your classmates. You must know a bit about your school. The military officer seated beside me had just said that you must know the muster points. So these are the things that you must see and you must say. And let me tell you, as you go back to your schools, all the questions that you have here today, go and ask your principals, your headmasters, your headmistress. They must answer you, because I know that you are charged up now. You want to be fully secured in your schools. So my answer to that is, you must be aware, you must open your eyes, you must not be lackluster, lackadaisical around your environment. When you enter into a bus, a public bus for example, you must know those who are in that bus, look at them very well. If you suspect any one of them to be anything, don't enter the bus. And when you get to school late, you explain to your headmaster or headmistress or principal that this is the situation. In addition to that, the Safe School Initiative program coordinators in Ogun State. I believe that you now have your work cut out for you nicely. From all our discussions here, I am very sure that your notes are full and you already have a direction that you are focusing on. Please, don't relent on your efforts. They have said that some of the schools are not fenced, and that is the truth. But I'm sure that you will come up with something. Please permit me to ask her. Have I answered your question? Yes. Yeah? He said yes, sir. Please clap for me now.
Please pass the microphone just a moment. I'll come to your comment. Please pass it to His Majesty. His Majesty. Your Majesty, I grew up understanding that Africans, particularly Yorubas, are very strong. I was told of stories where there will be armed robbery attack and the armed robbers will end up sweeping the compound to daybreak. Now, I am not Yoruba, and you are a custodian of the culture and tradition of Yorubas. Was there really such powers? Do they still exist? Why are we no longer putting them to use?
Thank you very much. Yes, I used to tell some of our colleagues, though in my path, we practice one for the law. But in my ascension in the throne of my forefathers, I have told my people that I cannot avoid the militants, both Christian and traditional. But the fact is, there are some things that in those days we can do and tell you. And presently we cannot go with them. But what we were talking about, there are some things now that technology has taken over. We have a CCTV. If anything happens here, CCTV will take that. Like the lady said, if all schools in the state, secondary schools in the state are fenced, it's another protective measure. Go to Lagos State. Virtually all the secondary schools in Lagos State are fenced. And fencing the school, fencing the school, it will help a lot because the principal of the school will be inside, will be at the gate. I want to tell you, there is one thing in your land that is called Agonju. We still have it. If you place Agonju here, and you put whatever you have, come to my community. If you put a brand new Bajaj in front of your house, nobody will go there. Because they still have that strong belief in language. If you touch it, we have some people smoking up and down in town because they assume they have put an control on them. If you touch it, it will happen. We still have them. But we cannot expect the traditional to go to any of the secondary schools in his domain and put that control there. It is very difficult because if for instance, if a brother to any of the children in the school or any of the students goes there to pick that student without the consent of the father, I go do that person. That is one of the reasons why all these traditional means of security don't really control. Similarly, if you put Ogun there, it will equally affect other people because if anybody goes there to do anything in any of the schools after you have put it there, it's still existing. But because of that is one of the reasons we are talking about rules for national rules. If there are constitutional rules, if you do it, you know that we are covered by the constitutional rules.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Please give it to him. He's a man of God. He's involved in security fighting, and he seems to agree with you in the supremacy of that thing that you just talked about, Your Majesty. To what extent does your spiritual belief allow for such thing to be practiced? Since we are talking about safety of our children and of our schools.
Okay, let me sing this song. Agbára ń bẹ
bíi tàtijọ́, àwa la ò ní bàbá bíi tàtijọ́. I am unapologetically a Yoruba man. I believe in my tradition, I believe in my culture. Religion and culture are two different things. And it is because of the incursion of this Western tradition that has taken away all what makes us the Yoruba that we are. God will not make a mistake to have created us as Yoruba and has given us those knowledge that was not given to the white man. They came here, they blindfolded us, gave us mirror, gave us all this nonsense, and took up everything that belonged to us. If our traditions were not good, what were they doing with the Benin bronzes? Why did they take them off from Benin and then they carted them away, only to be returning it after we started shouting? I think there must be a correlation between who we are and what we are practicing. God is one. The only thing God asks from all of us is to love one another. And it says that your security, when God created, when He drove Adam and Eve out of there, He put certain people there. Despite the fact that He is God, He has all the power. He still put some angels there to serve as security. So whatever you have to secure yourself, please do secure yourself.
Thank you very much. Please give it to her. Okay, my Christmas came to the purpose. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you.
Well, whatever we have, we should use. Honestly, I just have three different points to make. This initiative is an intervention. The sustainability of this initiative matters a lot. And that is where I will appeal. It is not about the photo taking and the speeches. I will appeal to critical stakeholders. When I say critical stakeholders, those that will be responsible for both funding and full operation of such initiative. It is good if it is sustainable. And then that is the government and the police authority up there. So also, the members of the public also, whatever roles we have to play to support the issue. I want to come up with the opinion that I don't think it will be out of place if we have a safer, maybe a safer school club, because I try to relate over the question from the young girl there. I think if we have a safer school club that will have a direct link with the safer school initiative at the top level, they can serve and assist in intelligence gathering. Because to be safe is to feel unsafe. If we feel that we are safe, that there's nothing to be worried about. But in our schools, teaching the students about intelligence gathering and how they can process that intelligence also matters a lot. And it will not be out of place to also have a direct line, like a public complaint response line, where the students are like, we all know 911, this and that. If the students also know who to call at a particular time, it should not be the principal alone that we have the number of the DPO that is around that environment. If the principal is not around and something happens in the community, then how do they contact the necessary authority? So I think there will be need to have a designated line, a response line to use. And The issue of cameras, honestly, it will assist prompt response. It's a very good one. But to also actualize that, I know most of the primary schools, most of the private schools, they take care of all of these things. But our public schools, which happens to be a forum where most of us that are in authority one way or the other will benefited from, seems to be suffering, seems to be neglected in so many areas. So it will not be out of place to also encourage. I wish the Commissioner for Education is here. In the course of their discussion and intervention from government, it will not be out of place to have that provided for by the government. It may not necessarily be inside the school, but the environment of the school, and that can be linked to even the safe initiative central control unit for prompt processing and information process. I think that like the issue of cultism and so many in the school environment, if we have the safe school club and the gather intelligence, we can responsibly and timely nip it in the bud before it degenerates into something else. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take it back to the NSCDC, and after her we'll go to the public. So, Madam, let's have your thoughts and comments.
If we want safe environment in our school, it has to start with awareness and sensitization. When we sensitize the schools, the staff, the learners, it will raise their level of alertness and awareness on some certain things. They will know when to report suspicious movements. So they say a speech in time saves life. When we act on time with the intelligence given, it will save us a lot of collateral damage that may have occurred in case something happens. Then, conducting regular drills with them will help too, and they have to participate. The schools, they will not be have to have incident commanders who will initiate emergency protocols whenever there is need for that. It is the incident commander that will contact the outside security agency that will alert us. By so doing, there won't be chaos in case of any emergency. They will know what to do. They will know who to call. The traditional rulers around the communities, they can participate in the neighborhood watch too. They can help us to gather intelligence reports, which we can act on time. And I think the state should establish, should replicate what we have at the national level, the National Safe School Response Coordination Center. If we have that at the state level, this is where all the security agencies will come together. We harness our resources, our materials. We review existing security policies. We review and formulate another ones. This will even reduce response time to ask me in case of any emergency. The collateral damages will be very, very minimal since we are all drawn together. Whatever the decision, it will be a joint decision by the security agency. It won't be the decision is from one particular security agency. We all harness our resources together and replicate what we have at the national level, at the state level.
Thank you very much. Inspector Ezekiel, please. Now, from here, we will have to come to this side of the hall. First, I'd like to give the microphone to CP Larry Noho, PhD. I think there are some points we need to speak to. Let them take one more comment and then go to this.
Thank you, sir. I just quickly want to respond to two aspects of his speech. He talked about sustainability of the program, and in the background to Safe School speech that I delivered, I did mention that what the government is doing at the moment is phase one, so to say, and it spans 2023 to 2026. So this project started last year, and as we do here, we will run it to 2026.
after which there will be review and further action by the government. So it's not a project that is just an abstract or that it will just die that way. There is annual budget for it, there is allocation for it, the government is doing everything to sustain it, so I can assure that it's sustainable. And as for contact number for schools and I think this is there always. Periodically the police announce the numbers that you can contact if there are issues. I think the first thing is that the nearest police station to where we are is the nearest point of contact. Even if we call the PRO and they want to, the control room, and they want to activate the response team, they will activate one that is nearest to that cell. So it is the responsibility of our institutions to naturally, from time to time, have the contact number, current contact number of DPO that is nearest to them. And of course, DPO go on transfer, but the control room does not go on transfer. So at any point in time, the command control room for immediate response. So these numbers are there, so I like to have it. In the past, I don't know if the command is doing it, but you go to police station, you will see it on the wall, on the side of the number you can contact them. So please, let's take advantage of this. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. For the records, CP Larry Ogulowo, PhD, is head Safe Schools Unit, Cost Headquarters, Abuja. And now let's take this microphone to the representative of Falaki of Egbaland, who is also representing the Egba Traditional Council, Oba Taufik Kayode Wolabi, the Olu of Obafemi. Let's get his contribution.
His Excellency, Governor Dapabiodun, Governor of the state, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Uluwakayode, the Commissioner of Police of the state, our Commissioner Ogulowo, in charge of this Safe Student Zone. Brigade Commander, representatives, Alamala, all other executive protocol to be observed. Our own chairman, please, State Council of Oba Kennedy Olubele, ably represented here by our own Olu Mashana. All of you are welcome. My colleague here, all the royal fathers here seated, and my colleague from the Federal Council official, who we both represent the Alaki and the Paramount of the land and the Federal Council in general. Well, as you know that our own Paramount ruler here is the boat Oba for this community. Likewise, is a retired military officer who know much about security architecture that we are discussing about. And from what we have learned from all the guest speakers in the house, we cannot say more than what we have had. The experience we have shared from the discussions, if we put it into use, I think it's enough for us to work upon. We have heard about CCTV camera. We have about network of transportation network. We have heard about the principal and the students, how they work, and we have heard about that we should move closer to the nearest police station in our area. Even if there is no police station there, we should move to the nearest police post there. We have so many sisters and security agencies in our area now. We have Amotekun, we have Social Corps, we have Legion, we have Civil Defense Corps, and even the hunters who are assisting the police. All of them are now on the ground that you can quickly contact in case you have these security challenges in our area. But that being aside, the students on their own and the youths of nowadays, we want to appeal to them. We want to help them, but they themselves should help themselves and help their parents. Because these security challenges we have nowadays rest on the youth of nowadays. In the olden days, we know how the youth were brought up. How we are brought up with the youth of the olden days and now the aged of nowadays. We know how we are brought up by our parents. We know how we are brought up by our teachers. How we are taught in the schools. It's never like that now in these new days dispensations. The misuse of social media, the misuse of telephone numbers, misuse of these issues of modern technologies has taken over the senses, the orientation of the olden days youth and the olden days students. So nowadays the Western orientation that we have has taken over our culture orientation that have problems that is leading and that lead to the present security challenges. So we should go back to that and correct all that impetus. Now coming to the solution of this security traditionally, we have had that. Baba Imashali and Nabolubeli and all of us in the traditional circle, like we have heard from the Amatiku representatives, we know how we secure ourselves in the olden days, and we still have that power. But now, what is taking place over now, we have heard it from our PCRC chairman, that we have not done, we didn't do as we are doing in the past. How we did in the past, we have left all that. We have left our tradition, we have left our customs, and we have taken that Western culture, Western custom has taken over all what we used to protect ourselves in the olden days. In the olden days, when we have food and put it in this hall, no things will go there. Then that is sure. If anybody get there, whatever you have there, you will be sweeping before the day break. So all of that, the technologies of nowadays has taken it over. And most of our parents then, in the olden days, they have even taken it off because they are not trustworthy. The youth of nowadays are not trustworthy to have left such powerful things for them. But now, as a traditional ruler, on our own, our solution with Baba, we are being sensitized. Baba Alage is a believer of tradition and custom, and even has directed all his subjects, all the traditional rulers in the council that, okay, go back home and do Yoruba science. Go back to Yoruba science. So when you go back to Yoruba science, we have our own laboratory, which is tradition and custom. So we will bring out our own scientific solution traditionally from the Patronal Council, and definitely Baba will come up with that and support the police and the organizers as appropriate. That's, we want to thank everybody on behalf of Alaki and Paramount for that land. What we have discussed here today, we learn a lot, and we thank everybody. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Let's take the microphone to CP Ajoku. Oh, Kabese, sorry. Okay, sorry, CP. Ezekiel, give it to Kabese. I think it's the right one or something. Let's see if we can get Kabese's thoughts in 1 minute or two. We are really pressed for time.
Thank you, moderator. Well, first of all, I stand on the existing protocol for safeguard. And at the same time, I want to appreciate the federal government the state government, and everybody that has an input to this program. And I'm surprised. They said they started 2023. We are just getting to know about it now. And that is very surprising. Maybe we are moving from one state to another. But there's one thing I have observed. There's one major stakeholder that has been left out of this program, and that is the chairman of the local government. Because I remember when I was the chairman of my local government, I was the chief security officer. So when we talk of security now, and the chairman of our government, who are the chief security officers of the various government are not here. That is, I don't think that is, I don't know, I don't think that is good enough. Also, they are the ones that have the funds to support most of these security agencies. The police are doing not very well. Even though in Nigeria, we don't appreciate it, we only see their bad side. The police, from our own experience and the experience of other phenomena, the police are doing wonderfully well. We need to be commended for that job. That's number one. Number two, most of these security agencies too are not focusing their attention on the community. I don't want to embarrass the Amotekun. And I want to see the Amotekun before we leave here. Or area time we leave. The station where Amotekun we are arresting 2 women fighting over their shops or their wares. That is embarrassing. I know Amotekun was established to join the police to solve our security challenges, to solve the problem of challenges, not to go into fatal women fighting. That's number one. Another thing I was saying is, as most as the leaders are really at best, not most best, because in my place I gave the what do you call them is vigilante. I give them a complete building and they are doing fine. My sister in that country, I can't remember, they are civil events. They applied for life. I gave them. The police have just been their own police post in my place. But I am surprised. We are another to once and just see another place in my community, in my territory, in where I live, without my knowledge. As they came to my place, the fighting and rather go down. I have warned them, move away. If you have to come, you have to come to my palace. So that I know you are here, I know why you are here, and I know who are here. There's a case of person who just come, start to arrest people. And last day, I will suggest that the retailers, the people that provide the food vendors, the people that handle the restaurants are also involved. Because most of these crimes are planned in hotels, in restaurants, in the food canteens. If they can be brought on board, although there is no they will see and say something.
Thank you very much, Your Majesty. Hunters, representative of Hunters, 1 minute. Representative of Vigilante, 1 minute. Are you ready? Are you ready? Where are they not ready? Okay, take the microphone to CP Awolowo Ajo. All right, I tell you, security.
No. All protocols duly observed. I really want to thank, this is a wonderful session, very wonderful program. I was not discussing with my sister to my right, and said that he's going home with so many things that he has been able to take from this program. I think our lecturer and the August panelists deserve a round of applause. I don't really have much to say because we have touched on virtually everything, but other than just to advise, that's number one. In addressing security of our school, we should ensure that it is school specific. It should be school specific. How do I mean? The security issues in our schools, they have to do with physical security, issues of the emotional needs of the students, and several other threats that you can think about, including even cyber security. Why I say that it should be school specific, you now discover that the security threats or the threats that a university, for instance, is confronted with is likely to be different from that of the secondary school. And when you still come back to secondary school, you still have to separate them into one, all males, all females, and mixed. That is in identifying the threats. You will discover that the threats that are prevalent in an all-male school might be different from that of us. So that is why I say that it must be school specific. Then, younger, like our guest lecturer has said, you will always see something. And it has told you that it's about awareness, about vigilance. You will always see something. But do you know why? You know why? There is always a need for security. There is always a need for security. Security, just in the sense that he has defined it, absence of fear, of danger, of risk, can never be in perpetuity. How do I mean? There must always be a need for security. So you will always see something. And the only way to go about it is to be conscious. Because yes, the environment might be calm today, but in every calm environment, there is inherent insecurity. So you will always see something. Now, about the warning, early signs, and you ask questions about that, early signs. If I'm to address that, I will say, what are those early signs that will tell us that a particular school is not safe? The physical environment of a school. For instance, where if a school is surrounded by a very bushy environment, those are signs. Number two, how many of our students from the records of the school, are, for instance, this year, facing disciplinary actions? Those are signs that the school is not willing as it relates to security. How many students are charged with offenses of bullying? Those are signs that the school is not willing in that area. So we must also take that one into consideration, and several other things that can constitute signs. But above all, we must know that in addressing security of school, it must be context, because it must be contextualized. We must know that we cannot take security out of the context, out of its context. And that is why I want us to carefully examine if the context of security is very important as it relates to Safer School Initiative. In which case, we are saying now that yes, for safer schools, of course, the community is important. Apart from the schools themselves, the community is important in identifying the threats that the schools are exposed to, in identifying the causes of those threats. Then, if we agree, I want us, with all sincerity and with the highest level of accountability, should Safer School Initiative be centralized? Should Safer School Initiative be centralized? I think in the course of time, we should also debate this. If policing is context-oriented, it's contextualized, it means that the school you want to save is here in Abeokuta. Must we wait for decisions? Must we wait for resources to flow down from federal institutions? Especially within the context of trying to run what we call true federalism. Must we? So I will say therefore, because at the end of the day, it is funding. It is funding. And by the time we are not expecting funding to be coming down from top down, the arteries that funding develop, you know how much, how much of the money that would have been devoted to secondary school would have run out. It's a very good initiative, especially with the funding aspect of it. But we have the statistics of the secondary schools of the university that we actually want to secure. And I'm now saying, is it possible that the monies that we have can be directed, given directly to the secondary schools? So not necessarily having a bureaucracy at the federal level that will now be administering money for secondary schools in here, in Abeokuta, or in Oyo, or in Kano that you want to secure. But very long federal government program. And like I said, it must be context-oriented. So I think in the course of this thing, we'll still have so many things to contribute. I want to thank the organizers. Of course, the CP is a very, I know him. I'm not surprised that he has had a PhD to boot. He was my very reliable and dependable DPO when I was area commander in Kenya. In short, usually we brainstorm, and anytime I know that I'm on an intellectual low, I'm so on an intellectually low, I go to him to raise my level. So I'm happy that he's the one in charge, and so there's going to be a lot of intellectual input to this. But I also want to debate the necessity or otherwise, and I know you come up with a better perspective. Necessity or otherwise to centralize or decentralize the funding or this initiative. Thank you very much.
All right, CP Edward Awolowo Ajo retired. Is retired but is not retired. He understands the security architecture of Ogun State very, very well. I don't think I need it anymore. Thank you, Ezekiel. Your Majesties, very distinguished Nigerians, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's been very, very long, conversation, and so we will have to. Let me just. You see, I called the concerts and I called the vigilantes, they weren't ready. So, the points I was able to jot in the course of this conversation include the fact that muster points should be identified and availed the police, that unusual movement should be noticed and police attention called to it. The school should be compact, sustenance must be guaranteed. There should be a dedicated line, safe school club should be set up. The whole project should be contextualized, and of course, reactivation of Yoruba science. It should be school specific. then community should also be dragged into it, and a host of other things that we have been able to speak to, today. It is indeed my hope that all of this that has been said will diffuse into the master plan of the project and then bring it into real practicality. So in the name of KBC, I want to use your majesty as a point of contact to appreciate these gentlemen and women who joined us here to enrich our knowledge with regards to this particular conversation. We'll be speaking on imperative for stakeholders collaboration for school security. It's been fantastic having you guys here. Thank you so much. I think this session is ended. We're about to move on now. Thank you very much. Please go back to your seats. Very distinguished Nigerians, ladies and gentlemen, next on the order of event. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have the directive of my immediate boss here, the PPRO, Police Command. It's fantastic having you stand around beside me, giving me inspiration. It's when you have a beautiful man around you, it gingers. So I hope we'll do this again tomorrow. But then she's asked me to tell you that this set of organizations are expected tomorrow. And those who didn't have opportunity of speaking today, sure will have an opportunity tomorrow. Full SPS team, sister security agencies, that is the Army, the DSS, the Navy, the NSCDC, we're expecting 5 personnel each. Amoteku 10, Vigilante 10, Hunters 10. We also expect from the Trace Corps 5 personnel, SOSAFE 5 personnel, Forest Guard, we're expecting 5 people from the organization. And of course the NDLA and the VGN, 5 personnel each. We're expecting all of you tomorrow. And the event will not be here. The event will be at the police headquarters, the Power Hall at the police headquarters. And they will know. It will be a pleasure to have you around tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, let me very specially bring to the microphone for the vote of thanks. Again, for the sake of emphasis, tomorrow's event will take place at Power Hall at the police headquarters in Lewero. It's not going to be here. It's going to be at the police headquarters in Lewero. And the time is 8 a.m. I'd like to bring for the vote of thanks, ladies and gentlemen, DCP Bolade Multala. He is the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of operations. And I am told to also tell you that there's a packed takeaway. Your lunch is packed, so as you step out, you pick it up. Please put your hands together one more time for the DC officials.
The Executive Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dabo Abiodun, ably represented by Commissioner of Education, Professor Aniga Busi. All other protocol duly observed. First of all, I would like to extend our appreciation and gratitude to Ogun State government for your unwavering support and commitment to enhancing safety and security of our educational institutions. Your partnership is highly valued. Together, we are laying a good ground for a safer environment for our children. Appreciation also goes to our royal fathers who have been here even before some of us since morning, and to offer us our sincere advice on how to go about making our school safe. We sincerely appreciate you. and we pray that God Almighty will take you back home safely. We equally appreciate our distinguished sister service commanders for your presence today and your collaborative efforts in ensuring peace and security in our communities. Your teamwork and dedications are vital in achieving our shared goals. Also, I wish to acknowledge the PCROC for their role in bridging the gap between the police and the community. Your active engagement is crucial in building trust and prosperity and foster cooperation, which is essential for sincere school protection goals. To the students who are part of our educational system, I say a big thank you for being there today. Your safety and well-being are our top priorities, and we are dedicated to protecting your right to learning in a sincere environment. Finally, to all invited guests, members of the community who graced this event with your presence, thank you for your support and encouragement. Your involvement is a testament to the collective commitment where we share in safeguarding the future generations as we embark on this important initiative. Let us continue to work together with vigilance and determination. Together we can create a safe and nurturing atmosphere for our children to thrive. Thank you once again, and may we move forward united in our mission. Thank you all. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of operations here in Ogun State. We appreciate you. One more time for the launch. We will appreciate it if you allow the students to pick first. Let's give them the opportunity to go first. And then tomorrow event, please remember it is at the Lewero. Shall we rise for the national anthem?